The warrior without a war can lose his soul. And that wolf inside you will devour you if you don't understand how to train him and how to harness him and how to put him to use and find a new fight.
When I was a child and my innocence was being violently ripped from me as a boy, I never questioned God. I never doubted God. I never asked God, why is this happening? How can you let this happen?
Well, I'm going to be honest, man. I was in a dark place, and it was just this rabbit holes of depression and guilt and blaming myself, and I was too scared to talk to anybody about it. It wasn't until I cried out, really cried out for God and started praying, that it changed.
The reason why we don't speak up against the church, same reason why we don't speak up when the women are going sideways, it's because we're not as advertised. We call ourselves a thing. We don't know the word. We don't read the word. We don't study the word. We don't pray. We ask for superficial things. We're playing softball in the kiddie pool. Meanwhile, real things are happening. And so we don't speak because we know we're full of shit.
And everyone else does. And you can't tell her to turn off the TV and
no, and guess what? Your kids are looking at you being full of shit. Especially sons. Sons are looking at their dads like, homie, what? Really?
This is what we're doing?
Really?
This is what we're doing? All right.
We grew up as war fighters in one form or fashion, and now we're learning to be the real war
Sons
fighters.
of God. Yeah.
The real war fighters, the real war, right? But you can't shuck off the trials and tribulations that God actually allowed you to go through. My manhood was based in the teams. I can't shake that off as nothing, but we just can't look back on that and worship.
The one side, there's an ideal in Christianity that we direct ourselves towards, which is a righteous standard for the whole society from the top to the bottom, and the other, the lived reality of walking with Jesus in a broken world. And that requires two things. One, coming to Jesus in faith, believing he can do what he says he can do, and then responding to him. That's what it is.
Depression is not the lack of self-love, it's the overabundance of it. You love yourself so much, all you do is sit around and think about how miserable you are. Christianity is making the decision to identify with who God says you are, despite who you see in the mirror.
There we go.